Welcome to YOUCANIC. Today here in YOUCANIC we have a 2012 Hyundai Sonata with the 2.4 motor and the hybrid system. So we're going to go and we're going to change the spark plugs on this vehicle. This has 180,000 miles on it, and we're going to replace those spark plugs so that we get better fuel mileage and the car will just run better. So to get to those spark plugs, well, first we're going to want to do a couple things because this is has the hybrid system. You're going to want to make sure that you have the key that goes to the vehicle very far from the vehicle. We don't want it anywhere close in the vicinity, because that way if it's close or it's in the car, if anybody got in, they could hit the button and the car could start and can move. And so you want to make sure that the key is nowhere close to it. And also, to completely deactivate the system, you just need to disconnect the negative battery cable from the 12-volt battery that's located in the trunk. And so when you do that, that deactivates all the system won't start and won't move and run if there's no battery connected for the 12-volt battery. So we've done that, and that way now we'll be safe to work on. Now the hybrid system is still intact. The hybrid battery is still plugged in. So anything where the orange wires go into, we're not going to come anywhere close to touching that, because the orange is what signifies that that is part of the hybrid or the high powered high voltage battery. All right, so we've gone through the process of making sure that we're safe. Now we can go ahead and we pop this cover off just by pulling it up. It's held on by the little rubber grommets. There's 4, and we'll set this aside. And then we get to here, and we're going to need to remove all 4 coils, or because we're going to do all the spark plugs at one time. You don't generally just replace one spark plug. You can, but we don't. So to release the clamp to the coil, we're going to just pull this gray plastic back a little bit, and be careful, we don't want to break it. But then we got to push decently hard on that little black clip to be able to pop that off. And you're going to again do that 4 times. And that way we have all of those undone. And we want to take out these 4 bolts. So we have a little bit of oil on cylinder 3 and 4. So we're going to want to make sure we do a good visual look down there to see potentially where that oil is coming from. Whether it's shooting up from the spark plug because it's not tight, or the valve cover gasket. Looks like the valve cover gasket has a little bit of a leak. So it's not excessive, but a little bit of a leak, just to be noted. So now we need to take that spark plug out, or these spark plugs. And there, we've pulled and removed the spark plug. And that spark plug doesn't look too bad. We're replacing them. And again, you just repeat that for all 4. So we've got our new spark plugs, and these are the Iridium Pros that they've asked for. And now you're gonna insert it in. We've got this socket that holds the spark plug up. It's got a little rubber grommet in here that holds it up. Okay, so we've got that bottomed out. And the gap is set on these spark plugs from the factory, or the manufacturer of your spark plug, knowing which model of car you're buying. And because of these, there's no gap adjustment that we do. Okay, so they're at the bottom, they're bottomed out. And we want to either torque them to spec or just a good quarter turn. You just got to make sure that the that is tight, but we are tightening into a aluminum head. So really, we're just making sure that we're crushing that that washer and getting these good and snug. Now, all the spark plugs are to spec or torqued down to my torque style. But you'd use a torque wrench, set it to torque wrench spec, and tighten your spark plugs, and not with. We don't want to try to over tighten them. And then you're going to take your ignition or coils. I did that because this little rubber grommet has come off, so that way I want to put it in the right one. Okay, so we set those all in. We got to put the number 10 bolt in. All right, all those are good and snug. They're not crazy over tight. We're really just holding this down. And it's plastic with a insert in there with some threads. And so we're just holding these down so they don't wiggle off. Then install clips, the locker, and so that's how, and then you'd put your cover back on and you'd be good to go. And so that's how you change your spark plugs on your 2012 Hyundai Sonata with the 2.4 motor. Thanks for watching YOUCANIC, where you can be the mechanic.